Bro, can I just point out something here? Mario and Luigi are brothers. This is not the Oh my god. Saw this story on X today with a scoop provided by Daniel Richter, or Rectum in his case, who goes by the social media handle of Daniel RPK. Not to be confused with WKRP in Cincinnati. He's got a small YouTube channel and may be looking to seek clout or traffic. He broke a news story that hasn't even been verified by Variety, The Hollywood Reporter, or even Deadline, that Hunter Schafer from Euphoria is the buzz of Hollywood right now. Why? Because Hunter Schafer, who's a dude who identifies as a woman,
playing a dude disguised as another dude,
who laughingly had to declare his real gender at a passport check-in this year. And some time ago, a deranged fan reached out to Hunter and cited his resemblance to the lady they call Princess Zelda, to which Schafer squealed, "Oh, I like those Zelda games. I played them as a kid." But guess what, Mr. Schafer? You're 26 years of age. And as I will get into in this video today, there is no way that even despite your youthful looks, you can play a video game character who strongly identifies as a woman.
Welcome to the award-winning Kung Fu Hot Dog, a channel that has more balls than a 1980s Chuck Norris movie.
Damn right.
The other Hollywood rumor floating around is that Walker Scobell is touted to be Link and may play closer to the character's aging in Ocarina of Time, which is 16 years old. Princess Zelda is technically 117 years old, but is 17 in the games. Both she and Link are known as Hylians, a race that look human and have elven features. Now, of course, ladies and gentlemen, that also brings me to the problem of how they approach the storyline for this live-action film that won't see the light of day until 2027, and that is, who's going to be rescuing who? Because in the video games, it's Link who rescues Princess Zelda. And I'm willing to bet that in this version, the roles will be reversed. In my post-Harvey Weinstein video last week, I highlighted that since he was exposed for the monster that he is, for the atrocious crimes he committed against Hollywood's most beautiful actresses at the time, and let's face it, folks, this is just a glimmer, a tint of what there is beneath that dark veneer they call Hollywood. Hollywood and the film industry as a whole, no matter where it is in the world, has always been a dark industry to be part of, which is why Once Upon a Time in Hollywood by Quentin Tarantino was seen as a celebration and a gut punch to people like Charles Manson, who came in and ruined the fantasy that is Hollywood. Now, from the top of my head, if you ask me to name some stunning actresses today, Peyton List from Cobra Kai, Dakota Johnson, and Sydney Sweeney, who also starred in Euphoria, are some of my picks to be the titular princess. But guess what? They're all too old. I know, ageism, folks. Even the young starlets who thought they were young aren't young anymore when you're comparing them to a video game. And while I would love Miss Sweeney to be Princess Zelda, she's 10 years too old and is currently filming the live-action version of Split Fiction, one of the breakout hits of this year. And don't believe the trash articles from Game Rant that Sydney is to play the role once made famous by Jane Fonda back in the day from Roger Vadim, Barbarella. It's something that Sydney Sweeney won't have time for in her very busy list of projects that she already has on IMDb. Now, the point I'm making here is, folks, is that if Hunter Schafer is cast in the role of a fictional biological character, even the official Zelda wiki refers to the heroine as her, then what the F are you doing, Hollywood? The simple answer is that they do not want you to objectify or admire the female form on the big screen. Despite the fact that Dakota Johnson and Sydney Sweeney oozed sexiness at the doomed Madame Web premiere in 2024. And there's the never-ending issue of race swapping a white character from its original source material, notably with How to Train Your Dragon, or in this case, How to DEI Your Dragon, with the miscasting of Nico Parker as the Viking girl Astrid. Which led film critic John Campea to lose his mind in that now deleted video.
I am on a personal mission. I want to purge 30,000 of my subscribers off my channel within the next 48 hours. And I would like them to be, because with the number of comments of people saying such idiotic, moronic things, I figure there's got to be at least 30,000 of you knuckle draggers around there. So please just leave my channel. Don't come back. Don't watch my stuff. I want to purge 30,000 things. Do me a favor, you racist pieces of shit, and go and find one of your echo chamber websites where you can all stand around and jerk each other off while you tilt your head backs and go, woke, woke.
Now listen, boys and girls, the reason why I don't buy this Hunter Schafer rumor at the moment, and yes, I'm fueling the fire with Daniel RPK, is because Nintendo is and will always be a fiercely loyal family brand. Nintendo is the Japanese version of Disney, although with the latter company, they made Pretty Woman, which starred Julia Roberts as a hooker. Go figure.
People are looking at me.
They're not looking at you, they're looking at me.
Nintendo are notoriously protective about their IP, and any suggestion that their characters have gender issues might result with legal action being taken against you. Of course, folks, that's all hyperbole, but I had to throw it in there. Samus Aran from the Metroid games was the first reveal in a video game that the character, who was assumed to be male by its fanbase, turned out in 1986, a year I remember fondly, ladies and gentlemen, was in fact female. In another clickbait headline from the pinknews.com, the first queer Nintendo character was Birdo. And I have to read this article to you folks because quite simply, it is absolutely hilarious. The first queer Nintendo character debuted in 1988 in the Nintendo Entertainment System NES game Super Mario Bros. 2, recurring boss Birdo. Birdo had been designed for the game Yumi Kojo Doki Doki Panic, but went unused. Along with many other assets and characters, she was eventually transformed for the Mario Bros. Second main title. Her description in the North American instruction booklet seems to suggest she is a transformer, an explanation which has aged like milk, and milk, by the way, absolutely sucks. He thinks he is a girl and he spits eggs from his mouth. He'd rather be called Birdetta. Certain translations of her original description in Doki Doki Panic also suggests she likes the name Kathy. This makes Birdo, who continued to use that name and the she/her pronouns in future promotional material, the first trans character in gaming history. What's more, her gender ambiguity hasn't been swept under the rug. Come on, Pink News. Even you know this is a stretch. I mean, it's admirable that you've done this, but I don't buy any of it. You're looking to qualify a statement with the so-called lost in translation aspects of this character called Birdo, someone I've never heard of, and you expect moi and everybody else to embrace this? Are you out of your minds? I think the answer is unequivocally yes. But wait, ladies and gentlemen, it gets so much more worse, because Mario and Luigi are also called out in this article. I wish I could give you more good news, folks, but this is the best I can offer you today. And honestly, this just gets even more hilarious. Trans Luigi and Donkey Kong the Ally. Take Luigi for example. Nintendo's official description reads, "He may not always be the center of the action, but when Mario needs him, Luigi jumps right into harm's way. This surface level ambiguity and a few morsels of evidence have led fans to theorize the character is queer." Bro. If this were the 1972 movie Deliverance by John Boorman starring Burt Reynolds and Jon Voight, I could then probably say, yeah, this is why you might find that kind of relationship in that type of warped, deranged movie set in a very warped, deranged part of America. And then again, other parts of the world too. Let's not just leave it to the Americans. But Luigi and Mario are brothers. Why on earth do you want to push incest into a video game, into a translation nobody wants? Sony and Nintendo are working on this live-action version of Zelda, and I find this fascinating as they're both rivals. Let's not forget, they were both developing a Super Famicom back in the day, which led to their fallout and which led to Sony actually creating their very first PlayStation back in the day. So when it comes to hardcore woke, Sony wins hands down. Just look at what Neil Druckmann is doing to that company from within at Naughty Dog. Whereas Nintendo, according to this data I found, has a very low ESG score. Oh, my genie in a bottle, Miss Sydney. Oh, don't mind me, ladies and gentlemen. You know me. I like to fool around while I'm making these videos. But in short, I'm probably feeding the trolls online by making this video, but unlike certain people who I'm not attacking by the way, because it's definitely down to them if they want to make a 4 or 6 minute long video just going into the hard task of why this story should never happen, with Hunter Schafer rumoredly, by the way, being touted to play Princess Zelda, who in theory he's too old to play, because quite clearly that character has to have some longevity in the films as they do in the video games. And I find it rather fascinating and rather funny that people actually go along with a scoop by somebody who doesn't have a reputation for being a credible scooper. I mean, if it was Matt Ramos, I would actually love to revel in the madness in here, or revel, should I say. I'm thinking of the sweets maybe, but oh my god, it's been an absolute riot to make this video today. But listen, after I've made this video, you never know. Nintendo might do the unthinkable and they might actually go along with the casting. But I will say one thing, I think two things might actually happen here, because again, the characters are traditionally white looking, so they may change all of that and may cast an Asian actor or an actress, which I'll be totally fine with. I have no problem with that whatsoever. But if they were to go down this route or even consider it, Nintendo, just come closer, and I'm not going to slap you in the face, not just yet. I might send that for a future video. And here we go again. When I do this now, my camera thinks that I'm asking it to zoom right in. So I do apologize for this gratuitous close-up here, folks. And at least my nostrils are looking rather clean today. And am I going to the left or am I going to the right? Is that political speak or is that something else? Well, that's entirely up to you. But if Nintendo decides to go with that, all I'm going to say is there's going to be a mass riot at cinemas everywhere. The film might become a hit, but at this point, Nintendo would take such a damage, such a hit to their reputation, it's going to take a long, long time for them to come back and recover. Unless, of course, we get Super Mario Brothers 2, and that rectifies everything. But if I were you, and if you were me, you should definitely return for the next video.